This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks primarily your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses. When an infected person talks, coughs, or sneezes, droplets carrying the virus may land in your mouth or nose and then move into your lungs. Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. A typical flu virus would travel inside a sac made from your cell membrane to your cell's nucleus that houses all its genetic material. The coronavirus, on the other hand, doesn't need to enter the host cell nucleus. It can directly access parts of the host cell called ribosomes. Ribosomes use genetic information from the virus to make viral proteins, such as the spikes on the virus's surface. A packaging structure in your cell then carries the spikes in vesicles which merge with your cell's outer layer, the cell membrane. All the parts needed to create a new virus gather just beneath your cell's membrane. Then, a new virus begins to bud off from the cell's membrane. Now, with the virus spreading in your body, how can you develop pneumonia symptoms? For this, we'll have to look into your lungs. Each lung has separate sections called lobes. Normally, as you breathe, air moves freely through your trachea or windpipe, then through large tubes called bronchi, through smaller tubes called bronchioles, and finally into tiny sacs called alveoli. Your airways and alveoli are flexible and springy. When you breathe in, each air sac inflates like a small balloon. And when you exhale, the sacs deflate. Small blood vessels called capillaries surround your alveoli. Oxygen from the air you breathe passes into your capillaries, and then carbon dioxide from your body passes out of your capillaries into your alveoli so that your lungs can get rid of it when you exhale. Your airways catch most germs in the mucus that lines your trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. In a healthy body, hair-like cilia lining the tubes constantly push the mucus and germs out of your airways, where you might expel them by coughing. Normally, cells of your immune system attack viruses and germs that make it past your mucus and cilia and enter your alveoli. However, if your immune system is weakened, like in the case of a coronavirus infection, the virus can overwhelm your immune cells, and your bronchioles and alveoli become inflamed as your immune system attacks the multiplying viruses. The inflammation can cause your alveoli to fill with fluid, making it difficult for your body to get the oxygen it needs. You could develop lobar pneumonia, where one lobe of your lungs is affected, or you could have bronchopneumonia that affects many areas of both lungs. Pneumonia may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing, fever and chills, confusion, headache, muscle pain, and fatigue. It can also lead to more serious complications. Respiratory failure occurs when your breathing becomes so difficult that you need a machine called a ventilator to help you breathe. These are the machines that save lives and that medical device companies currently ramp up production for. Whether you would develop these symptoms depends on a lot of factors, such as your age and whether you already have an existing condition. While this all sounds scary, the push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is moving at high speed. Studies of other coronaviruses led most researchers to assume that people who have recovered from a SARS-CoV-2 infection could be protected from reinfection for a period of time. But that assumption needs to be backed by empirical evidence, and some studies suggest otherwise. There are several different approaches for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The basic idea is that you would get a shot that contains faint versions of the virus. The vaccine would expose your body to a version of the virus that is too weak to cause infection, but just strong enough to stimulate an immune response. Within a few weeks, cells in your immune system would make markers called antibodies, which would be specific for only the coronavirus, or specifically its spike protein. Antibodies then attach to the virus and prevent it from attaching to your cells. Your immune system then responds to signals from the antibodies by consuming and destroying the clumps of viruses. If you then catch the real virus at a later stage, your body would recognize it and destroy it. In other words, your immune system is now primed. Collecting evidence on whether this will be possible, safe, and effective is part of what's taking researchers so long to develop a vaccine. It's a race against time to develop a vaccine amid a pandemic. Each step in vaccine development usually takes months, if not years. An Ebola vaccine broke records by being ready in 5 years. The hope here is to develop one for the new coronavirus in a record-breaking 12 to 18 months. While all this will take time, stay home if you can, to protect the most vulnerable. And don't forget to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds and as often as possible. This video was a collaboration between Nucleus Medical Media and the What If channel, where we usually dive into hypothetical scenarios about the human body, humanity, our planet, and the cosmos. Check out our channel by visiting the link in the description below.
Roll it up, now I'm smoking, bruh. Chiefin' on that SD until my lungs are broken, bruh.
Kalay me kanni, walang kirin kan kalzeldon, helehino tiang sonni. Kanpan me kwarin moitu, heleh rammi kannilo.
In December 2019, China notified the World Health Organization of several cases of human respiratory illness, a disease later named COVID-19. The virus causing this disease is known as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. The disease spreads through small droplets that are expelled from the nose or mouth when a person with COVID-19 coughs or exhales. Therefore, standing close to someone who is infected can put you at risk. These droplets can land on your hand and be transmitted through something as simple as a handshake, if afterwards you touch your eyes, nose, or mouth, the so-called T-zone. The virus is known to survive on different types of surfaces, so touching these contaminated surfaces and then touching your T-zone brings a high risk of infection. What we know so far: the coronavirus is spherical in shape, and its genetic material is encapsulated by different types of proteins. Some of the key structural ones are spike S protein, the most prominent feature of coronaviruses from where they get their name, then M, or membrane protein, and the so-called envelope protein. In December 2019, China notified the World Health Organization of several cases of human respiratory illness, a disease later named COVID-19. The virus causing this disease is known as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. The disease spreads through small droplets that are expelled from the nose or mouth when a person with COVID-19 coughs or exhales. Therefore, standing close to someone who is infected can put you at risk. These droplets can land on your hand and be transmitted through something as simple as a handshake, if afterwards you touch your eyes, nose, or mouth, the so-called T-zone. The virus is known to survive on different types of surfaces, so touching these contaminated surfaces and then touching your T-zone brings a high risk of infection. What we know so far: the coronavirus is spherical in shape, and its genetic material is encapsulated by different types of proteins. Some of the key structural ones are spike S protein, the most prominent feature of coronaviruses from where they get their name, then M, or membrane protein, and the so-called envelope protein.
This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies.
Pathian ro be ro se amen
Hello me Tura chuan ke typical khom kan ne boka kan la sak dan kin ti dang lok teng number pakuan an keu teng kan zawain number pakuan kha kan sa anga chang khat na le chang ni na kan sa anga chumizo asolfa in kan sa ang thiam lo ti oi lo pa kha a er sak oi lo o tenor le abe si sak kan phalang in bula mi pathu lo er lo lo nom kha chuan chiang chi lo ni mai the ol kan zawain ding le
Nhị Minh Hảo cái mồm xíu cái nó sẽ tiếp phẳng ra cái này nè chỉ phải du lịch thì là đi khá ai cùng mùi phút lấy ô phôi miền tô lô chỉ là sao xin lỗi tiền đã cái xin lỗi ruột đã không phút lấy mà ya hay mình xin na miền ruột thì cái thiệt về lấy cái riêng ruột thì lo ông chú Paul ro pui tak za om tak le thiang him tak Mizoram chunga in khom pui le conference lian ber hoi hot thin chu tianga mo phur tu le khai pa ber ni tu chuan karil lo om ma saber chu lalpa ka tling lo bani ti chia hi ni zanin thleng point he thu tho hi ka thin lunga lian ber chu ala ni zela a za om na le ro pui na te a hlut na te hi atit la niam tu kan yang ti ka hlau hle ni te na panina chuan kan upui fanau te ke ma ba ka an lo lang na la kan in chung te ka ngai tu a kan chung wain he na hi kan phu lo ti ka ria ani tin gs lo ni to zong zong ka ngai tuang hal vata atir te tanga secretary lo chel to tu zong zong te ril ron lo langa chung zong zong te chu ruat om tak ni om tak a thok om tak vekan nin ka ria a ke ye ro chu kai nan thina min ruat na tur chan le om ti na tur ka lain mu zo lo vani chu tiang mi chu in ma lo ding hi ka ni ti min riat pui ka du ni ten mi dang aya ka dang lam na ro chu secretary lo ni to gs lo ni to secretary lo ni to gs lo ni to zong zong ain kum thua atan tira a upaber kania zote upatin ka upaber don ti ro chu chia chu ka dang lam na tu nen ka ria a ten ka hu phure mem na chu het yang a pol ro pui tak thalai fel tak tak le le khathiam tak tak te hruai turin ke ni chung kwa lung ha na mun po la nei lo chu tiang chu ai zo la kan ni a chu tiang chung kwa het yang pol ro pui le zom tak hruai hi a hu phurom ka ti khop mai la le shon ges mani huana apan he na tong taya voi thum ma di la kapa thei phot chuan he no hian min pel lu ro se ti in voi thum ma di la ni kha chu chu zanin thleng po a he na min pe ka karil ro om chu ni pe hel thei chu ni se ka kovata hi lak son kala du zok tak me chu chu karil lu tak zetani min zot ta ula general secretary na tho hi cha kem i hu phurem min ti ula chak love ka hu phur khop mai ti hi ka chhan na tu chu ni patla a buk tai la chak na le a hu phur lo na lam kha le la mom se la chak lo na le hu phur na hi le la ma da tai la dang le chu ama sabera chuan pathian kuta kat lulut topa ten apanhina chuan kan sinot pui pa te min ruwa tu ten min thla tham lo wang ti karinga ani puina le thuron pek na wangin heng himul pho lovin kan thok thei tura kan ngaya tin chu ba ka chuan thok pui tu thatak tak pathianin min pe a committee member fel tak tak te tu lai kan thalai jinga po kong thang thanga han le kwal po tlak tak le mitling tak ve kan ni a chu tiang kara thok tur kan ya wang chuan an nia wangin ka thamuang em ani chu zanina kan soi du ni a in zawain min lo tong trai pui zel turin ka cha tak meu chu ni ka lo me
alo hle mai di rual chuan member zaineron kalba ka in lampang om zong ten kan tong trai pui don che ni nang mai ni phur don lovani ye kha kanan cha du che ani zai tur pani kan la ne ya chumi zo chuan la pani emo in tha nan te po kan la saleanga ti chuan kan hun ngor kan bok don ya khen ina te then khat ka chin la zai khom du mai the ya kan reilu tuk chuan a thalo palange nula zo ram chani zai turin kan somanga khala turon chuak sa ulangin ka tira chumi zo chuan ikthus electric veng bialte zai turin kan som chunzom haldonia la zo ram chani zai turin lo soma sai chungin kum sam ni soma general conference kan nei le na tur mun ma mi tho ma mi
kan da sarte pani stay sami te kha khonga in lo kal ula in thil sen nen khan helai hian thil release tur kan nei ni halai khan han release te ule ling theya kalkong ala thalowa tui a thalowa ma se chung jong jong chu voinia kan problem chu solve falo ni to a rul ngan pa han soyang zar main ma mit khuwa aizol trainer on chun
zani kan fellowship chu kan trin don ni yam ten rim tlawa an somate anon ti lo tling vek theya lom ome